Hey, welcome to the Contractor Sales Academy podcast. Steve, Derek, what's up, guys?
How you doing, Tom?
What's up, man?
Doing well. I'm just confessing my sins to you guys before we hit record here today.
Yes.
Things that have come out of my mouth and terrible things I've put in my mouth. But that really just sounds weird there. But anyway,
it's like, wow. We usually start off pretty crazy. That went real crazy.
that's a little nuts. I think we've arrived at the conclusion that I just need to not talk so much on a daily basis, and my life would probably be better, and a little less friction involved. But but you know what? F that, because that's what makes me me. So
there you go.
So speaking of, this is a terrible transition to our topic because I have no idea how I'm going to make it work at this point. One of the biggest issues that so many contractors have, and I don't know, you guys, I know you guys have been there, like you're working with a prospect and maybe you send a bid over, you tell them the price, and then they bring the phrase out of their mouth, I would like you to break this down and itemize this bid for me, or I'd like a breakdown of labor and material and all this other stuff. And we're not going to get so much into the tactics of what to say during this podcast here today, but I really want to talk about why it's important to be self-controlled when that happens and not take the bait, because I think it's bait for a lot of other bad shit that comes behind it that is not helpful really to anybody. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that today.
Well, Derek, you care if I go first?
Please go. Please.
Here's what I think when someone asks me that. Do you not trust me? I mean, do you think I am making too much money on this job? It's either you don't trust me and you think I'm making too much money and you're trying to keep me honest by me breaking everything down, or you're truly that engineer geek that wants to know every nut and bolt going into the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't think of even a third reason why someone would want to do that, with the possible exception of they're highly comparing every single bid with the other 49 bids that they're getting, which is a tip-off right there.
Yeah.
So all three of those scenarios are not good for me.
Oh, I had a recent experience, one that I've never had before when it comes to that detail. The contractor that reached out to me to build a pond for his customer went through the numbers, did the on-site consultation, got paid for consulting, and now it's time to put the numbers together. So I put the numbers together, and he reached back out and said, hey, could you break this down for me? And it's like, okay, well, let's, sure. So we talked a little bit more about it. And I said, in order for me to break this down, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I need to charge you for this. He's like, why do you need to charge me? It's like, because most times if I break stuff down like this, I don't get the job anyway. Not really sure. So I was like, okay. He's like, no, we'll totally compensate you for this. So unbeknownst to me, the homeowner was actually a landscape contractor, retired landscape contractor. So as we go through this, the landscape contractor just wants to see how it's broken down. So they paid me. I went through it. It wasn't good enough. Like truly, they needed it broken down even more. And I'm like, well, how would you like me to do it? And the project manager, and this homeowner has millions of bucks. So this is not like, is way over the top. And he said, well, let me send you my sheet, my takeoff sheet, and this is how I break things down. He literally sent me this sheet. He wanted everything broken down to like the minutest of detail, like crazy detail, like exact price, exact quantity, exact implementation. Like it's just over the top. And I'm already losing, like I'm not really even interested in doing this job because this is throwing up red flags for me. So I call him back and I just go, man, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm just, and kind of along with what Steve's saying, it's like, I kind of feel like you guys, you don't trust me to do this. And all I can really tell you and what I'm doing is this is my numbers. And it's not going to be like a punch list kind of thing that you can monitor. I mean, because this is an organic thing that we're going to do. I get it if we're like framing a house. We're not framing a house. We're just building just a kick-ass water feature. and repairing water feature, existing water feature. I said, you're just going to have to trust me. This is what it's going to cost. And just know that I'm not going to charge you. I'm not going to back charge you anything. There's nothing else is going to come up. We're going to stay in scope. And he's like, okay, let me get back with my client. And he called me back a week later and said, yeah, we're just going to go another direction. And I was like, if you don't mind, what made you guys decide to go another direction? And he said, scale of scope and not enough detail. And I went, well, it's like, so I literally did not get the job because, and granted, I did have them pay me to put it in detail, and it still wasn't enough. So you kind of run into like and that's a rare instance, right? But that's like, you can run into an instance like you can't give enough detail unless you do it exactly, for me, unless you do it exactly using his takeoff sheet, exactly the way he wants it. But then it's like, now you're just trying to like control the whole thing, and that's not going to work.
Go ahead, Steve.
I said, I have a big question for you. Every time I hear that phrase, we're going to go in another direction, what are they really saying?
Too much money.
They don't have the balls to tell you the truth. It's like breaking up with a person, and you don't want to give them the real answer as to why you're really breaking up with them, and you'll do something like, I think we need to see somebody else, or it's not you, it's me. Basically, you just want to get off the phone, and you don't want to be honest with the person. You don't have any problem wasting a boatload of their time, and most contractors, we are suckers. Like there is a neon sign on our forehead that says, I am a sucker. I will jump through every hoop you ask me to jump through. You know why? Because I'm afraid if I don't, I'll be scared I won't get the job. So when they come at you with some bullshit, like let's break it down, I just believe they're saying, just like what you said, Derek, I don't trust you. I want to see the materials. I want to see the labor, and my attitude's kind of like yours. Screw you. At some point, you got to trust me.
Well, I know there's
one more thing, and I'll get off. I think 99% of all customers truly want their problems just to go away and not actually be bothered with all that detail.
Yeah. Well, I think most of them are trained to do that, right? They're trained through the years to default to that if they're afraid to make a buying decision and things like that. And it's rooted in fear of being taken advantage of. And I think this is just a great opportunity. I know we talk a lot here about the 5 steps in the Shin Fu. Well, the first step is the motive. And I think if somebody is wanting you to break it down, I think that's a great opportunity to revisit the motive and ask some great open-ended questions. And just, one phrase that I know we've all used here is like, hey, sounds like you've had, I remember one time this guy was kind of like this with breaking it down and really insecure. And all I said was God, I don't know if I'm right, but it sounds like you've might've had some strange experiences with contractors in the past. And I just left it at that. You know what I'm saying?
Tom, I'm going to email him that. As soon as we finish this podcast, I'm going to email that back to him, and just for fun, just to see what's going on.
And sometimes it's a way you're revisiting the motive because maybe you didn't find the real pain and you didn't find the trust. And sometimes they're just truly one of those types of people that are wired that way. So Derek, my question is, they came back, said it wasn't enough detail. There's probably people listening to this right now, you guys, that are like, see, that's why you got to break things down. That's why you got to play the game. Because Derek, you just lost this job and blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you tell the guy that might be coming at it from that angle?
You got to dig back into the motive, just like you're saying. And in this situation, I'm not able, the project manager, he only emails. And I tried to call him multiple times because it was truly like when he wanted it broken down, I was like, all right, this is a great job. And you're saying I got it. So, and I'm cool at this point. It's like, whatever, you say I've got the job. So sure, I'll break it down. I don't have any issues. And then I couldn't get him on the phone, and then it's a back and forth. So that was my goal, let me talk to you. Let me talk to the homeowner. Like, this is something's going on. You're a retired landscape contractor. You're a project manager. So it's like this, we can talk the same language. And if I really understand, I mean, if the numbers are good, because you said the numbers are good, and now we just have a scope issue and a detail issue, what, and then him emailing that to me to look at it, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, like, this is, no thank you. Like, now you're wanting me to, am I really going to break down that's a 2-inch threaded slip, and that's the ball valve, like 6-inch ball valve? Like, you're wanting me to, what the hell?
So what are some things that a contractor can do to alleviate the fear somebody has so it doesn't even get to the point of them even being asked to break it down? Does anything come to mind?
Well, yeah. I got a theory. My grandmother used to think everybody was stealing from her. She would have to rush home from Thanksgiving and Christmas every year because someone was going to break in her house. Now, you know why my grandmother thought everybody was stealing and cheating her?
I don't know.
Because she was stealing and cheating from everybody. She was the thief. And so these people that want you to break it down, some of them, not all of them, some of them are dishonest people themselves. And they look at life in a dishonest, like, what can I get over on this person? Therefore, when they are getting bids to get something done at their own place, they're going, I'm not letting this person get over on me, because that's how they look at life. And so they try to flip it around on you, and you just simply don't accept that. What can you do not to do that? You know, like what we do here, we give one price to do the job. And it's like, I'll make awesome, or I'll make your problems go away, and it's one price. Mm-hmm. And rarely does anybody ask me for that breakdown. But when they ask me for the breakdown, I almost never get the job because they don't like the words I say, because I will call a spade and bring up the elephant in the room about distrust.
Well, you know, I think sometimes they do this. They want you to itemize it because they don't really want to hire you. There's somebody else that they want to hire, maybe that they're working with, and they're trying to use your bid as leverage against them too. You know, I mean, you just don't know, which is why first, don't make assumptions. Always go back to the motive. I mean, Steve, I know you've been so bold in the past with people. You actually tell them the exact profit you're making, you know, and you know, and that, you know, that shuts them up pretty quick.
Yeah, but even your scenario that you just painted about, they really want to work with someone else, it's all based on distrust and not an honorable person. They're trying to use you, and I am not going to be used. I mean, what we teach, quite honestly, if you get down to it in the CSA, is how not to be used. How not to let these people use you. And Derek just said, you know, we didn't go to some school, and we just think that's our default and that's how we're supposed to respond. Oh, okay, I'll break it down. Well, you know what? We will give you a new default.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I posed this question, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, if you guys remember. I said, how do you guys handle the objection? I posted in our Facebook group. And it was great to see the dozens and dozens of word tracks and things like that people use and have a lot of success with, that kind of diffuse the situation. And that really comes from practice. You know, I recorded another podcast earlier today, and I talked about the importance of role play and practice, that if you're a performer, if you're an actor, you're a musician, you know, you have to rehearse, you have to practice, you have to prepare. And so no matter what the objection is, that's how we got the name Shin Fu, right? You know, Shinholzer's your last name. And, you know, Derek, you and your team were having beers one night, and Travis was like, man, Steve's like deflecting these objections or whatever, like it's, you know, Kung Fu or martial arts or whatever. And then boom, we have Shin Fu. Okay. But that only comes from a commitment to practice and role play. And that's one thing that we guarantee will turn up the heat on people that are part of our community. So anything else before we get out of here, guys?
Don't itemize. Tell them no.
Yeah. Tell them no.
Learn how to tell them no.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us here today. As always, we appreciate any reviews. We appreciate you sharing this with another contractor. Head to contractorsalesacademy.com and click the buttons there that tell you to connect with us if you want to learn more about what's going on. And we'll see you guys next time.